I've been dying to ask you about this. The promo. Talk to us about the promo. What was that like?
It was good fun. I mean, it was a brilliant idea. It was Turkey's idea, and he was really, and everybody was really having a good time making it. I think it's had over 100 million views around the world. So that's been good for the publicity for the show. And I did my stuff along with Deontay. He was driving the van, I was the passenger, and it was good fun. But we'd done all ours in one take. No messing about with us. And I didn't even have to wear makeup.
All of that stuff though, and the poster as well for this, with them all sat around the table in the black tie looking up at the camera, and what we saw around Fury and Ngannou as well, we talk about things being on a different level, but that has been different level.
Well, it is. I mean, the advertising budget for this is phenomenal because it's part of the Riyadh season, and that's great. It's fabulous for the fight. It gets the awareness of the event out there during the season, and they're so the posters, the promos, they're all iconic. I mean, they're extra special, all of them, and it's been a joy to be involved, and it sets the scene, as I say, for a really big show on the 23rd, and it's a huge show.
It is the day of reckoning. It's enormously impressive how quickly they put it together, because we thought we knew what was going to come on that date, and then they've had to do this really quickly. The titles, is it particularly appropriate for Daniel Dubois against Jarrell Miller?
I think it's appropriate for all of them, because everybody on there is in a significant fight, and seeing now what's happening here in Saudi and the shows that put together that are being promoted here, and we're heavily involved with. For each fighter, are they going to be there in the future? This business is normally about winners and not losers, so nobody can afford to slip up. And certainly the big name stars, they got to be at their best. And AJ's he's got a new trainer. He's fighting another southpaw. He hasn't done particularly well with southpaws. He's a winning southpaw. He had a good win out last time against Gassiev, and I think he'll give him a tremendous test. I think he'll have a real test against him, and he's going to have to be at his best to win it.
So who do you think's got the harder fight out of him or Deontay Wilder?
I think they're equally as hard. Deontay's had one round in 2 years, coming off of 3 losses against Tyson, 2 losses and a draw. And I think Joe Parker, there's a couple of things he's got going for himself. One is that he trains all the time with Tyson. He's in Tyson's camp, so Tyson's going to be giving him a lot of advice, having shared the ring with Wilder a few times. And he's also coming off of a good win himself. So, these guys just can't afford to slip up. And their opponents, they're looking to take advantage of the situation, get themselves a seat at the big table.
You mentioned the trilogy there. I was at the third one, and between Fury and Wilder, and I think it's the best fight I've ever been ringside for. Certainly the best heavyweight fight, but probably the best fight. And I won't be surprised or even that disappointed if it remains that way, because it was unbelievable. In all the fights that you've promoted, how highly does that one rank?
That's the best live heavyweight fight I've ever attended. Over the years, I've seen lots of stuff on film, with the Allies, the Frasers and so forth, but the one to attend, it was that one, beyond a doubt. Excitement, both fighters on the floor. It was edge of the seat stuff. But I think that's what Deontay Wilder's fights are like, because everybody's looking for the explosive punch, waiting for it to happen. And he takes shots sometimes before he lands those punches. So it's going to be interesting to see how Joe Parker deals with it.
Absolutely. And you wonder sometimes as well what a fight like that third one can take away from winner and loser, because you're bound to leave a piece of yourself in there, I guess. And as you say, Wilder's only had one round since.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very valid point, Andy. Although he's had 2 years to get over it. But, I mean, look, against Helenius, he didn't look too much of a slouch, did he? I mean, he absolutely destroyed him. The one thing about him, I think the one thing about all big punchers, that's the last thing to go, is the punch. The punch resistance may go, but the punch itself and their power normally stays with them. So he will be exciting. It will be exciting.
And he's talked about it quite a lot the last few weeks, but it's true of everybody on the card, is that you know better than anyone that the most valuable currency in boxing is knockouts. Everybody loves a knockout.
Everybody loves a knockout. That's why they all like, always the heavyweight who were the big punchers are always the exciting fighters. You look at Mike Tyson, you can look at back Joe Louis, all the way through Larry Holmes, all the way up to today. Tyson now, I mean, Tyson's been knocking guys over on a regular basis. It's only his last fight that went the distance out of how many. That's what heavyweight boxing is about. It's about big bangers, and heavyweights with big punches become big box office.
So just to pick out Daniel Dubois against Jarrell Miller, it's a really interesting fight this, I think, because Miller is still undefeated. We know what's gone on with him in recent years. He's a man brimful of confidence, although there aren't that many names on his record. Straight back in with him off the back of Usyk for Daniel. Queensberry matchmaking is well known for getting things spot on. Would you say this is a bit of a gamble?
I think it's a bit of a gamble, but it's a gamble that needs to be taken. Jarrell Miller's obviously been a drug cheat. He's clean now. He's licensed by the Nevada Commission. It's a good opponent for him. He's a big puncher himself, Miller. Daniel's a big puncher. I think his last fight against Usyk, he gave Usyk his toughest fight at heavyweight, no doubt about that. And I think he exposed him with a body shot, which I thought was legitimate, but I'm not going to go into all that again. But out of that fight, you could see all his attributes. Daniel can punch, he can box, he's a big guy, he's young, he's got fast hands, good footwork. With that 4-minute gap with the alleged low blow, he lost a lot of momentum. And a lot of people thought he lost a lot of heart. So he's got a lot to prove in that fight. In that fight, he's got to get out there and show people that he has got heart and he has got desire. Because that's how you win fights, with desire. You've got to want it, you've got to need it. And he needs it, because if he doesn't come through this, he goes to the back of the queue. So he's really got to put in a performance, a career best performance.
Would you say that kind of desire, that bravery almost, is that something that can, because I think it can, but is it something you feel that can be improved? I mean, you look at what happened against Joyce, that had never happened to him before. He maybe panicked a bit there. I'm not saying it was the wrong decision. And then against Usyk, he looked like he might stay down and then didn't. Don kind of read him the right act in between rounds, and then the next round he did stay down.
I think the Joyce fight, he was in front on the cards in that fight. I mean, the judges had him in front. If he don't get knocked out, he wins the fight because of the way the scorecards were. The punches that he took to his head and to his eye socket caused a lot of damage. He had a problem with his retina and everything, and it was the right thing what he did. And at the time, I know a lot of people jumped immediately to a conclusion there that he swallowed. But, I know what happened afterwards. I know he went to the doctor that you see, the specialist, and the diagnosis, and the doctor said, thank God what happened. Otherwise his career would have been over. Sonny Edwards fought on Saturday. Same thing. That round, he said himself, the orbital went, he couldn't see, and he was struggling with his eye. That's a bad injury, and your eyesight or a career, or your eyesight and a career, or do you just be brave, if you want to call it brave, whatever you want to call it, do you go out there and just ruin lose sight maybe in one eye, and you're not allowed to box anymore? That's a no-brainer decision for me. The fight against Usyk was I don't know. It was for frustration, especially when the referee stopped it. I don't think the referee should have stopped it, but when he didn't complain. He didn't complain, and I think to be honest, I think he felt the referee. He was fighting two people in there with the referee. So I thought the referee, and I've watched it back a few times now because obviously preparing for the appeals and so forth that we got, and I thought the referee was so biased in the fight. And I've always been a fan of the referee, but you know, he didn't do him any favours. But at the end of the day, he should have gritted his teeth. Get on with it. You get on with it. You know, you're fighting the champion. You're in the other guy's backyard. You're getting paid well. You're in the other guy's backyard. You've got to go and win it. You've got to go and snatch the belt off him. That's what you have to do. That's what fighters do. So, you know, I think he's got these performances in him, and I hope that's going to be the case against Miller, because Miller's going to. Well, he's doing it now. He's over to the hotel yesterday, you know, trying to psych him out and whatever. And he's got that big, brash American confidence about him. But he's got to make, as soon as that bell goes, Daniel's got to go out there and he's got to make him feel the power. He's got power in both hands. He's got to get Miller's respect straight away. No pussyfooting around. Get out there, take the centre of the ring, put him on the back foot, and just throw hurtful punches. Don't feel him out, land them, land those bombs.
And I guess not stay in front of him too long at times.
No, we've got a box. You know, he's got a jab. He's got a fabulous jab when he uses his jab. He's got a very, very good jab. And I mean, look, on paper, he's got the beating of him. There's no doubt about it in my mind. But paper don't fight. You know, at the end of the day, he's got to show. Here, this is all he needs to show from here. Do you really want it? Do you want to win the world title? Do you want to make your way forward in this game? You're a young man. The guys are getting older. That happens to everybody, me included. And do you want to be part of what's happening in the future of the heavyweight division? If you do, get out there and you've got to put that performance in, because he's put in some great performances over the years. Some seriously good performances, powerful performances, and that's what we want to see from him.
Back to the card in general, where does this rank in terms of ones you promoted, would you say?
This is a seriously good card. I mean, each fight individually is a main event, you know, but because obviously it's the Riyadh Festival, because of the budget that is there, that's why you can make these super cards like this, and it's a super card. I've never seen anything like it. I think it's 8 or 9 out of the top 13 heavyweights in the world are on this card. When has that ever happened? The answer is never.
Yeah, I was looking at the rankings last night. Yeah, with the WBC and WBO, 9 of their top 15, and with the WBA and the IBF, 8 of their top 15. Yeah. I mean, it's...
And take 2 of those, two of them is Tyson and Usyk, so who are fighting on the 17th of February.
So, with that in mind, you know, we've got February the 17th locked in. March the 9th looks like, well, they want it to be Joshua Wilder. That depends on what happens on Saturday. But these cards are, how big a part of your business are they now, moving forward for 2024?
Well, it's a big part of our business. You know, we've done the deal with, you know, we're working with Seller on these. We work with them on them, and it's a big part of what we're doing in the future. The good thing is that boxing's become a serious part of the Riyadh Festival through His Excellency's the fact that he's a massive boxing fan and he understands what boxing brings to the table as far as entertainment and as far as brand recognition, in as much that the Riyadh Festival is becoming, the Riyadh season is becoming a huge cultural event. It's not just boxing, it's other sports, entertainment, you know, from opera to pop music, dance, tennis, everything's there. And boxing is a major part of it, so much so that Tyson and Ngannou opened the festival back in October. So there's great commitment there. So from our perspective, we're delighted, and we're extremely delighted to be involved and working very closely with Seller in delivering these events.
And the kind of the big thing about it for you know, a boxing sort of fan, we are fans as well, is just their ability to get things done that people struggle to get done. And Fury Usyk would be one, but if they come through and Joshua Wilder happens on March the 9th, I mean, that fight seems to have been in the works forever. What are your feelings about that one? If they do both come through and meet on the 9th,
if they both come through, everybody's got what they want, haven't they? It's happened, certainly as far as the British world fans, but certainly as far as the UK is concerned, because it involves 2 UK fighters. Tyson in the unification belts against Usyk for the first 4 belts, first time this century. That's a major achievement to be, and we worked on this for a long while over the last 18 months or so with previous people who couldn't deliver. It's been delivered, it's done, and if Joshua and Wilder come through and are successful, their fight will be done. That is in their hands, but the means to make it happen is there, and the desire's there, and that's brilliant for world boxing, and it'll happen in other weight divisions, I'm sure, in the future.